Hollywood was built on beautiful faces. Faces so powerful they defined entire eras. But in an industry that worships youth and punishes age, even legends are taught to fear time. As wrinkles appear, many icons try to freeze the clock with plastic surgery. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it destroys everything. This is not about vanity. It's about survival in a world where beauty is currency and time always collects its debt. Zsa Zsa Gabor didn't simply walk into a room, she arrived. Wrapped in diamonds, trailing perfume, and armed with perfectly timed one-liners, she turned herself into a spectacle long before the word brand existed. To Zsa Zsa, glamour wasn't decoration, it was survival. And Hollywood, quietly but relentlessly, taught her that youth was a woman's greatest asset and aging a personal failure. She began cosmetic surgery unusually early, undergoing her first facelift in her 30s, decades before such procedures were openly acknowledged. At the time, it wasn't panic. It was preparation. Zsa Zsa believed beauty was currency, and in an industry that devalues women with age, she was determined never to go bankrupt. Over the years, one procedure led to another. By the 1970s, her face carried a permanent look of polished surprise, elegant, sculpted, but increasingly unable to fully express emotion. Yet what makes her story complicated is that she never retreated. When her eyebrows stopped cooperating, she compensated with oversized jewelry. When her smile tightened, she leaned into dramatic gestures and impeccable timing. Directors adjusted, cameramen adapted. Zsa Zsa performed around the limitations, refusing to surrender the spotlight. There is undeniable sadness in watching natural expression fade, but there is also resilience. Zsa Zsa didn't lose her identity to surgery. She reshaped it. In the end, time may have taken flexibility from her face, but it never touched the confidence, wit, or theatrical force that made her unforgettable. In the 1950s, Tony Curtis wasn't just handsome. He was dangerously handsome. With his dark curls, sharp cheekbones, and effortless charm, he defined the Hollywood heartthrob. Audiences adored him, studios fought over him, and co-stars sometimes struggled to keep their focus. His face wasn't just attractive, it was expressive, playful, and alive. For decades, Tony aged naturally. But when time finally caught up in his later years, he refused to accept it quietly. Entering the world of cosmetic surgery in his 60s, his early procedures seemed modest, a little tightening here, a lift there, nothing shocking. At first. But as the years passed, the adjustments became more visible, and by the 1990s, his face took on a stretched, glossy quality that felt unfamiliar. Male faces are notoriously unforgiving when overworked, and Tony's once flexible expressions began to flatten. His skin reflected studio lights like polished marble, while his eyebrows settled into a permanent look of surprise. Ironically, as his face grew more rigid, his inner creativity found new freedom. He turned seriously to painting, pouring emotion onto canvas in ways his face no longer could. Tony never publicly admitted to any procedures, which made interviews increasingly surreal. Journalists politely ignored the obvious, while audiences quietly mourned the expressive features they once loved. The tragedy is simple and unavoidable. Tony Curtis didn't need surgery. He would have aged into a charismatic silver-haired icon. Instead, in trying to outrun time, he ended up outrunning the reflection that once made him unforgettable. In a city obsessed with looking younger, Jocelyn Wildenstein chose something far more extreme: transformation. Not refinement, not preservation, transformation. While most Hollywood figures chased youth, Jocelyn pursued an entirely new identity, one that would make her instantly unforgettable and deeply controversial. Her story began not with vanity, but with love, or at least devotion. Married to a billionaire who adored big cats, Jocelyn reportedly believed altering her appearance would please him. What started as cosmetic enhancement quickly escalated into a complete facial overhaul. Cheek implants, eye lifts, jaw reshaping procedure after procedure pushed her face further from human familiarity and closer to something feline. As the surgeries multiplied, so did the reactions. Beverly Hills surgeons whispered, tabloids stared. Even doctors known for saying yes quietly stepped back. By the time her cosmetic bills reached millions, Jocelyn had crossed an invisible line from enhancement into cautionary legend. Her wide eyes, sculpted cheekbones, and tightly stretched skin became shorthand for excess, not beauty. What makes her story especially unsettling is this. Jocelyn reportedly believed she looked good. Genuinely. That disconnect between self-perception and public shock became her defining tragedy. She didn't see a mistake, she saw success. Hollywood often flirts with going too far, but Jocelyn sprinted past moderation without hesitation. She became a living warning, proof that in the pursuit of perfection, identity itself can be rewritten. Her story isn't just about plastic surgery gone wrong. It's about how easily self-image can be lost when no one dares to say stop. Ann-Margret didn't just step onto the screen. She exploded into it. In the 1960s, she was pure fire. Vibrant red hair, magnetic eyes, and a face so expressive it seemed to dance along with her movements. Every smile, every glance, every raised eyebrow carried energy. When she appeared beside Elvis Presley, the chemistry was undeniable. Her appeal wasn't just beauty, it was motion, emotion, and intensity. For a long time seemed almost hesitant to catch her. But Hollywood never truly stops measuring age, especially for women whose fame is built on physical presence. As the years passed, Ann-Margret turned to cosmetic procedures, hoping to protect the expressiveness that made her unforgettable. Early changes were subtle and controlled, barely noticeable to audiences. Her spark remained intact. Over time, however, the procedures accumulated. By the 1990s and early 2000s, her face began to look smoother, tighter, and noticeably less flexible. While her body still moved with remarkable energy, her facial expressions struggled to keep pace. Directors adapted, favoring full body shots over close-ups, allowing her movement to tell the story her face no longer could. What makes her transformation especially poignant is that nothing inside her faded. Her passion, professionalism, and charisma never disappeared. Yet the very face that once amplified her fire became restrained by efforts meant to preserve it. Ann-Margret's story is not one of failure, but of quiet loss, a reminder that sometimes, in trying to hold on to brilliance, we unintentionally dim its expression. In the 1990s, Meg Ryan was Hollywood's definition of charm. She wasn't just the queen of romantic comedies, she was the feeling of them. That warm smile, the playful confidence, the famous scrunched nose that could sell an entire love story with one glance. Meg made romance feel natural, awkward, and real. And audiences fell in love because she felt approachable, not untouchable. Then time arrived, quietly but relentlessly. Like many actresses in an industry allergic to aging, Meg turned to cosmetic enhancements. At first, the changes were subtle. A little smoothing, a little tightening, nothing alarming. But by the mid-2000s, her appearance shifted enough to shock fans and dominate headlines. Red carpet photos sparked the same confused reaction everywhere. Is that Meg Ryan? The issue wasn't that she looked older. It was that she no longer looked like herself. The tiny facial movements that once carried her charm, the micro-expressions that made her performances believable, seemed restricted. Critics were harsh. The internet was cruel. Hollywood whispered the one sentence no actress wants to hear. She's lost her look. What followed was unexpected restraint. Meg didn't launch a publicity tour or explain herself. She stepped back, choosing privacy over defense. And perhaps that quiet response says more than any interview could. The irony is painful. Meg Ryan could have aged into an elegant, magnetic presence, redefining romance for a new generation. Instead, in trying to preserve the face audiences loved, she lost the expressions that made it unforgettable. In the 1980s, Mickey Rourke was Hollywood's dangerous temptation. Brooding, soft-spoken, and strikingly handsome, he carried the kind of beauty that felt unpredictable and raw. He could be cast as a poet, a lover, or a man headed for self-destruction, sometimes all at once. His face told stories before he ever opened his mouth. Then Mickey walked away. Trading film sets for boxing rings, he subjected his face to years of punishment. The sport gave him scars, broken bones, and damage that surgery was meant to repair. But what followed was a series of cosmetic procedures that went painfully wrong. Reconstructive work became experimentation, and experimentation became transformation. His appearance changed dramatically. Features shifted, proportions blurred. Each public appearance sparked confusion and concern. Unlike many stars, Mickey didn't deny it. He admitted the surgeries failed, openly blaming unqualified doctors and bad decisions. There was no illusion to protect, only honesty. Hollywood noticed. Whispers turned into jokes. Casting offers dried up. And yet, somehow, Mickey survived. When the wrestler arrived, he delivered a performance so vulnerable and human that his altered face became part of the story rather than a distraction. The damage, both physical and emotional, added weight instead of erasing it. Mickey Rourke's story isn't just about plastic surgery gone wrong. It's about resilience. His face may no longer resemble the rebel heartthrob of the 80s, but his soul, bruised, defiant, and stubbornly alive, refused to disappear with it. Linda Evans once embodied a kind of beauty Hollywood rarely questions. Soft yet strong, radiant yet grounded. Her face didn't demand attention, it earned it. By the time Dynasty made her a television icon, she represented elegance itself. Crystal Carrington wasn't just a character, she was a symbol of calm power. And Linda's natural expressiveness made every close-up unforgettable. When the spotlight dimmed after the show ended, Linda faced the same unspoken pressure many actresses do. Aging quietly was never presented as an option. At first, the cosmetic changes were minimal, subtle refinements, easily dismissed as good lighting or rest. But over time, the procedures accumulated. Her once delicate features began to swell, tighten, and shift, until the face audiences recognized seemed to fade behind layers of enhancement. The irony is hard to ignore. Linda spoke often about inner peace, spirituality, and living in harmony with nature. She moved away from Hollywood, embracing a quieter, more grounded life. Yet her appearance told a different story, one of frequent medical appointments and an ongoing struggle to resist time. Fans noticed. Industry insiders whispered that she hadn't enhanced her beauty, she had replaced it. And that's the tragedy. Linda Evans had the kind of bone structure that grows more striking with age. She could have become one of Hollywood's great examples of graceful maturity. Instead, in trying to preserve her youthful image, she unintentionally erased the natural beauty that made her iconic in the first place. Priscilla Presley was more than beautiful. She was iconic. Effortlessly elegant, with striking eyes and sculpted cheekbones, she carried a quiet confidence that felt timeless. As Elvis Presley's partner, she became American royalty, yet her beauty never felt forced or artificial. It was natural, refined, and unforgettable. When Priscilla later sought cosmetic enhancement, it wasn't driven by vanity or excess. Like many women in Hollywood, she wanted subtle refinement, a small adjustment, nothing more. What followed instead was a nightmare no one could have anticipated. Trusting a man who presented himself as a medical professional, Priscilla was injected with industrial-grade silicone, rather than approved cosmetic fillers. The consequences were immediate and devastating. Her face developed hardened areas, uneven contours, and long-term damage that modern medicine still cannot fully reverse. Doctors later explained that silicone migrates through tissue, making correction nearly impossible. This wasn't a bad cosmetic choice. It was a medical betrayal. What makes Priscilla's story remarkable is how she responded. She didn't disappear, deny, or hide behind excuses. She continued to appear in public, attend events, and live her life with composure and dignity. The man responsible was eventually imprisoned, but the physical effects remain. Priscilla Presley's experience is a powerful reminder that even icons can be vulnerable. Her strength lies not in perfection, but in resilience, proving that grace isn't defined by appearance, but by how one survives when beauty is taken away. Hollywood taught these icons to fear aging, then punished them for trying to escape it. Some lost expression, some lost identity, and a few found ways to survive the damage. Their stories aren't about vanity. They're about pressure, expectation, and the cost of chasing perfection in an industry that never forgives time. If this made you think differently about fame and beauty, like the video, subscribe for more real Hollywood stories, and share your thoughts in the comments below.